What is going on, guys? My name is The Rose, and today it is Friday, January 19th, 2018. I almost said 2017 there for a moment. And today, as always, being joined by Black Sakura's co-founder, Cypher.
Hey.
And today we're going to go over quite a few things. We're going to discuss a little bit about this YouTube situation that was announced on Tuesday. And we're going to talk about the betas, the video game betas that just wrapped up this past week. Dragon Ball, Fighter Z, and Final Fantasy, the City of Final Fantasy NT. Maybe bring up Monster Hunter World since that one's currently ongoing. So follow us on Facebook. Black Sakura on Facebook, Black Sakura on Twitter. I think I'll start putting the Twitter link there, even though we don't use it much. Still good to have in there. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and as always, follow my good friend and voice actress Erin Fitzgerald on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, and her website. All her links are in the description, as all the others will be there as well. So before we begin, last week and the week before, you know that I bagged on GameStop a little bit for the fiasco that was that order of games that I ended up purchasing. Well, when I told you they only sent the one game, and then the following Monday I received the other two, and I told you they were supposed to replace the third game, and they never did. Well, a few days later, this past Monday actually, a week later, I receive another package from GameStop. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I didn't order anything. So I open it up and they did send me additional copies of all three games.
Oh, that's cool.
So now I have 2 copies of all 3 games that I ordered.
So it was Ukulele, Exist Archive, and what was the third one?
The Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition for PS4.
Okay.
So now, which is good for me, because now I get to take these games since they told me I can keep them and I don't have to send them back. I could actually trade those games in now towards my Fighter Z pre-order,
Nice.
which will help me pay for it, and that'll be somewhere between like $15 and $20. So, yeah, I'm quite happy about that. And I remember last week you asked me if I called GameStop to like bitch at them or anything, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. Now I'm kind of glad I didn't, because if I did, I would have come off probably looking like a jackass.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that more companies like do that kind of stuff now, where it's like if they make a mistake, they tend to make up for it in other ways. Like after that stuff with Amazon, they ended up that I mentioned, I think it was last week or the week before last, they waived all my shipping charges for that part of the order.
Right.
Which I thought was good on them, because I didn't actually order it from, like, I ordered it on Amazon. Sorry, I'm making tea right now. But I didn't order it from Amazon. I ordered it from, I believe, just a normal seller on Amazon. So technically, I don't really think they had to do that, but they did, which was great. Unfortunately, though, I canceled an order, since you complained about GameStop the other week. So I canceled this order on Yakuza 0 that was from a seller that was not Amazon. And when you do that, when it's not through like Amazon or Sega, when it's just basically an eBay buy,
Oh, yeah.
you have to request cancellation. So I did, and then they gave it to me or whatever. So I checked my bank account the other day, and it's like, look, I was looking through my statement. And so apparently what had happened was they refunded the money, and then my bank was like, reversed that refund. So like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell? It's like $80 that I didn't pay, that I didn't have to pay somebody. I now have paid them.
So you got to pay them anyway, even though you canceled your order?
I think it's just a problem with my bank. They do shit like this all the time.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound right. If you canceled your order, why the hell should you give them your money?
No, exactly. So yeah, I'm going to probably contact them on Monday, because I just noticed this last night and they're already closed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you get your money back. That'd be kind of fucked up if you don't.
Yeah, well, that's life.
So what do you think of this YouTube situation that's got people up in arms?
If I'm completely honest, I haven't really educated myself on it, so I don't really know how much I'm able to say about it.
Well,
I think that it's funny that platforms keep doing this to people, given that Patreon did something similar the month before last.
Well, I could fill you in on the details since...
Yeah, please do. And for our audience who may not know.
All of the details were sent to everyone's YouTube channel emails.
Okay.
And it says... so the gist of it is, they're changing their monetization and the YouTube Partner Program. Now, at some time last year, they did change it, and they made it from where everyone can just start with monetization to where you had to have 10,000 lifetime views.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really a big deal. Well, because of all the bullshit that's been going on over the past year, with the PewDiePie shit and the Logan Paul shit that recently just happened, and then you got all of these, small channels trying to get rich quick by, stealing content or streaming cartoons and, other shit that they had no hand in making, trying to get easy subs and easy revenue and stuff. Well, YouTube decided to finally put the brakes on all that shit, and because they want to control their ads, a little bit better than they're currently able to.
Okay.
So the new requirements for the YouTube Partner Program is you have to have 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have 4,000 watch hours total within the past 12 months.
I don't think that's fair.
Now, keep in mind, 4,000 watch hours in 12 months total. That's 20,000 watch minutes a month. And for a channel that doesn't even have 1,000 subscribers, or even at 1,000 subscribers, is not all that easy to reach.
No.
And even
if
with...
I'm honest... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, keep going. I want to get the full scoop before I comment.
Right, and what I've been saying, to our founder of Black Sakura, who I've been arguing with over this, because he doesn't seem to think it's a big deal, and, he's, heavily supporting YouTube, and he thinks it's a good decision, and I have no doubt that there could be, there's going to be positives to come out of this.
Yeah, I just think the negatives are much more glaring and much more potent. Like, they don't outweigh the positives.
But I put a comment on his post today. It was like 6-paragraph fucking essay. I wrote this when I was like half asleep. Just because I saw this comment, it literally pissed me off. And, I wrote on there, I said, this issue is bigger than, just channels with less than 1,000 subs, that can't reach the requirements. There are plenty of YouTubers out there that, while they weren't relying on YouTube as their main source of income, I'm sure they were making something off of YouTube that was helping them financially, and now they're not going to have that anymore.
Yeah.
And, people out there, for example, I watch a YouTube channel called A+ Start, and he does this series called Son of a Glitch, where he goes through video games, and he, researches glitches, and then he writes the scripts for his episodes, and then he's got to sit there for hours and hours and hours trying to create these glitches in the games so that he can record the footage for them. Then he's got to break it all down. He's got to edit the videos, upload it, render it, upload it. He only uploads maybe once a month if he's lucky. I haven't seen him upload anything in a couple of months.
I just fucking spilled tea in myself.
Oh, that's not good.
My headphones just fell out too, so... God damn it. Okay, we're good. Sorry about that.
So what I was saying was, this guy, he puts all this time and work into his videos, and he only uploads maybe once a month if he's lucky, and I haven't seen him upload in a month or two.
Yeah.
If you upload that far apart, even though you have over 100,000 subscribers, how are you how are you gonna maintain your watch time?
No, exactly. I think that that's really the key issue here. It is one of retention, where it's like you can have 1 million subscribers, but that doesn't mean that every one of those subscribers is going to watch every video that you put out.
Exactly,
Like,
and guess what? Once they watch your old stuff, who's to say they're gonna go back and watch it again just to keep your watch time up?
exactly. Like I know, like here's an example. I'm subscribed to Super Best Friends Play on YouTube. I couldn't give a shit about their recent Resident Evil playthroughs, so I haven't been watching them.
Right. Oh yeah.
And it's like, it's also a question of, like, it's easier now because of this stuff to, I would argue, to maintain a YouTube channel than it is to start one. If you wanted to start making money off of YouTube or start creating content for YouTube.
Right.
Simply because, like, once you start making enough money off of YouTube that YouTube is your job, you're usually able to put out, like some people do 30-minute videos every day. And I would argue that, again, it's a problem of retention where, like, not everybody will watch all 30 minutes of it, or they may not watch any of it at all.
Right.
Depending on, your subscriber count and the content. But it's still easier if you have the time and the energy to make that content in the first place.
And
Whereas now it's like you basically have to sacrifice a significant chunk of your life and probably do stuff that hasn't been done before just to get a presence on the platform, which was already a problem to begin with, and now it's become even more problematic.
Right. And it's not just, people that want to put a lot of time into their work. It's people like musicians who aren't going to come up with new songs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
New original songs that like again, a channel I watch, Brentalfloss, he does like parody songs of video games. Great. He hasn't uploaded in months.
No, it's I don't see how this is a good idea.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand why they're doing it, but it just sucks that the people, the real content creators out there are going to suffer over something they had nothing to do with.
Exactly, like...
And the fact that, someone will go on Facebook or on Twitter and say, yeah, I don't care if people are getting screwed. This isn't a big deal. Like, what? It's really annoying.
Not to badmouth that person, but, like, they don't really have a presence on YouTube. Like, I don't either. Which is why I didn't comment on it until you told me basically what the scoop is. But, like, they don't have a presence. It doesn't concern them. Therefore, I don't really think they should be speaking about it.
Oh, my God. I said that yesterday. I told him, I said, in my opinion, I said, personally, I don't think you should have an opinion on this matter.
No, you can have an opinion on it, but it's like, if you're... Here's the thing, right? Did they publish it through their Facebook or through, like, the Black Sakura one?
Personal Facebook.
Well, I would argue that's not as bad, because although they're still doing it on a public platform, which can be extremely harmful, they didn't do it through us. But, like, the way I see it is, it's ironic to me, because this person, when Patreon did all the stuff where they were where they were changing how their fees worked, I defended that because I had read up on the information. And they were like, I think this is a really bad idea. But in reality, it's because they're a part of the platform, and therefore they have a reason to complain about it. Like, I'm not on Patreon, I just know what the policy says. Because theory and practice are two different things, right?
Right, and even I didn't like the Patreon change, and I am not even on Patreon.
Exactly. Like, you can have an opinion, and you can state that opinion if you want to. It's just like, don't be surprised when somebody who is either affected more by it or has been educated on it more so than yourself comments on it, either for it or against it.
And let me say that this is something that none of you guys know about me. I was on YouTube in the years before monetization became a basic right to everybody. I was on YouTube, with a bullshit channel, just doing random videos, didn't have, an established genre, on YouTube at the time. Just making friends on YouTube, having a good time. Those days, I loved those days on YouTube, to be honest.
Because people didn't give a shit.
Right. And back then, you had to manually apply for partnership. You had to have one really good video that happened to go viral, or you had to have a string of good videos that had a decent amount of following to get it. And that, I'll argue, that back then was harder to get partnership than what this new requirement is going to be. But reaching this new requirement for a lot of people is still going to be really hard.
Like, I know that this might be wrong of me to say, but I don't really see monetization as a basic right for YouTubers. I think that, to be fair though, I'm also the guy who thinks that YouTube is too heavy-handed with demonetization, which we're probably going to get demonetized just for mentioning YouTube.
Ironically, the video we did last week that I put demonetized this on...
this, it ended up getting flagged?
No, they reversed it, and now it's monetized.
That's hilarious. Damn, I was really hoping that we'd be 2 for 2. But, yeah, like, the way I see it is, I think that if YouTube wants to have a partnership program, I'm not saying that it should be exclusive, but I think that it should be a case wherein you need to apply for it, and you need to meet one of a certain number, a certain type of parameter. Like, I can see 1,000 subscribers being a very good benchmark.
Right.
Because it's like, you have a smaller channel, you may or may not have you may not have the retention or the views, but you at least have enough people interested in you that they're willing to follow what you put out.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I just think that like, the old system wasn't broken, why fix it?
And I'll agree that monetization shouldn't be a basic right, because when they did put it through in like the spring of 2013 until they're taking it away effectively February 20th next month.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all these channels that popped up, people stealing content, more people just re-uploading other people's content and, music videos and other stuff,
Yeah.
That clearly goes against YouTube's guidelines.
Basically, the way that I see it is, like, if you have one of those channels and it hasn't been taken down yet and you try to apply for monetization, then you should either have the content taken down or have the money go to whoever the rightful creator of that content is.
Right, and
it gets into like a problem wherein, what constitutes theft, because I know there's a couple of people who have made videos on, like, here's why KFC is the worst thing ever, or like, here's why the Blue Yeti sucks. Like, those are the two that immediately come to mind when it comes to content theft. And or like, as thinly veiled as it can be. But then you also have situations where it's kind of dicey, like, who's to say that under the new system, somebody who invents under that kind of system, that whoever invents the Let's Play format is like, well, now this is mine now. Anyone who does a Let's Play, it's like it's a weird slippery slope where YouTube needs to be really careful about how they monitor these things, and they're really not. Like, I think YouTube is, at once, it's too political, it's too involved, and it's not involved enough, if that makes sense.
See, and another thing I'm worried about was back in the day when you had to apply for monetization. If you used, content that was going to get flagged in your video for a content ID match, back in the day it was easier to get, like, straight-up strikes. Because when you get flagged for a content ID match, the company that, 9 times out of 10, the company that claims the content, they want whatever money is going to generate from these videos.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not making money from these videos, these companies may say, well, fuck them, we're not going to get money from them, and they use their content, copyright strike, which is even worse.
I think is a fair thing to do. Like, you can't steal something without having a punishment for that.
Well, no, I'm not saying, like, like outright steal it. Like, for example, like, if, like me, with a Let's Play video, some companies do claim that content anyway because they're greedy and they want the money.
Well, I know a Let's Player that I watch a while back on Twitter came out and said that he couldn't do Let's Plays by Arc System Works because Arc System Works Japan claimed all of his videos that were like Arc Sys games.
Really? Because my Dragon Ball Fighters stream that I did the other day didn't get claimed at all.
Interesting. But like, so anyway, he got flagged and he contacted Arc Sys of America and he's like, I don't make any money off of this. Or whatever it was. I don't remember the full story. But basically, so he contacts the company and he's like, yeah, this is fair use. Like, I'm well within my rights to do this. And they're like, yeah, well, it's a problem with the Japanese office. Like, you probably shouldn't Let's Play anything by us again because it may be a problem for you.
Huh.
If the Japanese company, like, because they're basically two autonomous things, right? Like, one has no say over what the other one does.
Right. Yeah, because with Bandai Namco, like with my Tekken 7 series, they content ID claimed some of my videos, but not all of them.
Yeah.
So now they're taking whatever revenue those videos make, over time. But now once I lose my monetization and they're no longer going to gain anything from that, they could just go in there and say, yeah, copyright strike this person because now they're not going to make anything off of it. So that's what scares me. I don't, I think strikes will screw a channel over completely.
I honestly think that the way the YouTube system used to work is good, but it's not perfect. Like, the old system operated on an idea that you're guilty until proven innocent instead of the other way around, which is how it should be.
Right.
In that, like, somebody content IDs you. You then have to go through the YouTube system to basically say, like, I didn't violate anything, this is good under fair use, shit like that. Or, like, alternatively, this isn't the company that's claiming it, why should they have a say in that? Like, I think that, if that's the case, then YouTube should have a system wherein you have, you have so many days to respond to something once a claim is made, and then after that, YouTube makes the decision of whether or not you are going to get the strike.
Right.
Like, if you, let's say, you get somebody, okay, let's say Bandai Namco claims one of your Tekken 7 videos. Then what should happen is Bandai Namco presents a case where it's like, this person is just using Tekken 7 content, it is monetized through YouTube. Then YouTube says, we'll look into this and we'll take action if necessary. Then YouTube contacts you and says, hey, Bandai Namco filed a claim, here's the email, or here's the claim that was made. You have 14 days to defend yourself, to send us back an email defending yourself.
Right.
And then, until YouTube is able to make a decision on whether or not that happens, because YouTube is a big company. Like, I think YouTube is able to pull that off.
I mean, right now they do give you an option to dispute claims.
Yes, but the problem is that you still get that strike in the first place. They just wipe it away when it's gone.
Right, and the way they word it, it's like, if you fail to dispute, you could face more dire consequences. I'm like, well, why the hell would I want to even risk it? But,
I think the idea is that, like, if I'm 100% honest with you, I don't think YouTube should have that much of a hand in that kind of thing. Like, if in an ideal system, if a company has a problem with you as a YouTuber, they would just go to the law, which is a problem with, like, the anonymousness of the internet, the anonymity of the internet. And it's more difficult to police, but it's like, YouTube is a private company. They shouldn't really have a hand in that other than it's their platform, therefore they can take it off.
Right.
They can police that. Like, YouTube isn't going to arrest you, but YouTube certainly does have this kind of, it is the judge, jury, and executioner, especially if you make money off of them.
Yeah, so, going back to what I said before, as someone who had a YouTube channel 10 years ago, I know what it's like to be in that group of people that, was not getting monetization, and then finally getting monetization just because YouTube was being generous, and now having nothing to do with all the bullshit that came down to make YouTube want to take it away. Having nothing to do with that and now being in that group of people that's going to lose it again, it kind of sucks. And the fact that some people just don't give a shit, it irks me.
I just think that, like, YouTube is a big enough platform that when they come out with this kind of shit, I think that people should have a say.
Exactly.
And they really don't. And that's unfortunate.
They should have notified us ahead of time, that they were gonna do this, and they should have gave us a few days to, give them some feedback, maybe some constructive criticism, and then maybe they could have come up with a policy based on our feedback, and they didn't. They just surprised the hell out of everybody with emails. Hey, this is what we're doing. Deal with it.
Yeah, I just think that it's really shitty of them, personally.
So, I mean, like I said, I understand why they did it. They're doing it to, help themselves as a company because they're losing ad revenue. They're losing money off the website. Advertisers are, once again, slowly starting to pull out because of shit that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And now, unfortunately, people who had nothing to do with it have to deal with the consequences. And, I do agree with people on YouTube like Boogie and Review Tech USA. They made videos on this, and they stated their case and why they support the situation or the not support the situation. And they both agreed that, that this isn't, this is quite a drastic change from what it was. Mm-hmm. And, it is a pretty hard goal to reach. Now, I'll give them the fact that they said that if you really want it, you got to work for it. And when you finally reach that, you're gonna, then you definitely deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think YouTube could have, gone about this a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think that, like, the system wasn't really that broken, but it had its problems. And so YouTube changing it is something I can understand. I just think that the way they have changed it is the problem.
So that's my piece, our piece on the YouTube bullshit. Like I said, I'm holding out for hope that this, comes out positively in the future. Mm-hmm. And who knows, maybe a year or two from now, maybe they'll lower the requirements a little bit. If things start going well for them again, not take it all away completely, but at least maybe lower the watch time requirement a little bit.
I really think that's the big one. Like, I think the sub count is fair, but I think that the watch time requirement is like, you might as well say, hey, you might as well have several thousand subscribers if you want to reach this watch count thing.
Right, and even, like I said, depending on who you are, having a decent following, it won't even be enough.
No.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Unfortunately, we can't do anything to change it. Hopefully this works out for YouTube. And if this works out for YouTube, maybe it'll work out for us in the end where they'll, change things, a little bit in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
But, so with that said, let's get into some of this news.
Okay. Weren't we going to discuss the betas and stuff too?
Yeah.
Or do you want to wait until we get some news out of the way?
Yeah, let's do a little bit of news, and then we can talk about the betas. Let's start with that one thing you mentioned, the Nippon Ichi creators thing.
Okay. All right, let me just get the tab open. Okay, so Nippon Ichi Software announces The Liar Princess and The Blind Prince. And to summarize this, basically what Nippon Ichi does is apparently every year they have this in-house event where employees can submit ideas, and then one of them is guaranteed to become a new game. So an example of this would be the Firefly Diary, or Yomino Wari, A Night Alone, came to be. So the concept of this game is that everything is drawn in kind of a storybook style, in mostly monochrome, which I find personally quite fascinating. And then the basic narrative is that there's a monster who pretends to be a princess, and as the title implies, the prince is blind. So I think that these things coupled together, and with how good Nippon Ichi's writing can be, I can see this project turning out very well from a narrative standpoint. If the gameplay, if there is any, because I know Nippon Ichi does do a few visual novels here and there.
Right.
If the gameplay can match the quality of everything else.
I think it's good that they give opportunity to fans.
Oh, definitely. Well, it's not fans; it's their employees.
Oh, okay. I thought like it was open to anybody.
No, but I still think that's a good idea. Like, I think that if you're a low-level employee at Nippon Ichi and you have this great idea that you can't really execute because you don't have the pull, then being allowed to, at the very least, say what it is and let everybody else kind of talk about it is a good idea.
Well,
like, I'm more curious as to how many games that didn't win this contest that were still made.
Oh, it's good. It's good that people get more. Within the company, they get a better chance to have their stuff published.
Yeah,
It's certainly something that a lot of other companies don't do.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the problem.
So I'm interested in seeing how that comes out.
So do you want to talk about Final Fantasy 15 and hear me bitch and moan, or?
All right. Well, let me knock out the rest of this Nippon Ichi stuff so we can just stay on topic.
All right.
So Wednesday the 17th. For us, it was the 18th in Japan. They held like a press conference type thing, and I believe it's on their Japanese YouTube channel. It's all in Japanese, so I didn't bother to watch it, and I didn't even know it was a thing because I don't follow the Japanese channel. But they held a stream and they announced some games and stuff that they're going to have coming out in the summer of this year. And a couple takeaways from that is Disgaea Hour of Darkness is getting an HD remake for its 15th anniversary. Now, Disgaea Hour of Darkness, I don't know when it released in Japan, but I believe it was June 23rd, 2003 for America. And I'm hoping we get this remake as well, because I'm actually kind of stoked for it. Because like you said, about 20 minutes ago, the Nippon Ichi, these games did not age very well. I would say at least the first 2 or 3 games did not age very well.
I'd argue. Okay, I'm starting to echo, and that's a little weird, but I think that Disgaea 1, they remade it twice. Once for PC and once for PSP.
Right.
Or sorry, once for PSP and once for DS.
The DS version was horrible, in my opinion.
It was really bad. I don't think that game's aged well in any sense. I have played the remake of Disgaea 2, and I found that was really good. I've never played the original, so I don't really have any opinion on it. But I'm grateful that this game, which has some of the best writing in the series, I think, is finally getting a remake so that I can actually enjoy the gameplay as well.
Right. So it says here, Nippon Ichi announced at the end of their stream that to celebrate the Disgaea Hour of Darkness 15th anniversary, the game will be receiving an HD remake. HD remake has no gameplay footage at the time, but Nippon Ichi announced the release window of summer 2018. And then, as we just stated, the game was previously released on the DS, PC, PSP, and PS2. The HD remake does not have any announced platforms currently either. Now, if they're going to do a full-on remake, I hope they make the game more in tune like the way they made Disgaea 5.
Yeah.
So that it'll have all of the features of 5, but play, with the story and stuff of the original.
If I'm honest, I hope that in rewriting Disgaea 1, they tweak some stuff.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I found that the writing in that game is really good, but like on a scene by scene level, but the overall plot could be way better. So I'm hoping that it hits the same story beats, but they kind of extended it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. They do as well, and I hope they add that Etna mode again, which was in the first
Yeah.
game. Bring that back. Maybe add some of the current characters that weren't in the first game as like bonus post game stuff, because the original game didn't really have anything in terms of post game. Quite like the
Plus,
games do now.
I found that it didn't really have much in the way of of unique characters other than the main three.
Yeah, Etna's personally my favorite.
Yeah, and it's pretty great.
And if they're gonna do a remake, they're probably gonna have like the lines redubbed. And I'm kind of hoping they keep Michelle Ruff as Etna, because I fucking love her as Etna. Personally,
Yeah.
the girl that did Etna in the original game, I just prefer Michelle's voice a lot more to the original.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping they keep that. So yeah, Disgaea 15th Anniversary Edition HD remake, more than likely going to be on the PS4 and probably the Switch. I hope we get it. Japan's going to get it. I hope we do too. And knowing them, if we do get it, we'll probably get some kind of limited edition release for it.
I wonder if we're ever going to get that game that Asagi was supposed to be in.
Oh, right.
Probably never, which I find hilarious, but...
Alright, so the next thing about Nippon Ichi. Nippon Ichi announces product Nightmare, a live-action horror game. This was also announced during their stream. Nippon Ichi announces Nightmare, a horror adventure game that uses live-action footage. Project Nightmare, Nippon Ichi's first attempt at combining adventure gameplay with live-action footage. The idea behind the game stems from recent 3D graphic advancements. Nippon Ichi aims to have this title be a new type of horror entertainment experience. Now there is a trailer, which it's all in Japanese, so I can't understand a damn thing it's saying. And then it just says, Project Nightmare does not currently have a release date or announced platforms. Knowing NIS and NIS America, it's going to be PlayStation 4, no doubt.
Oh, probably.
And if they want to go ahead and support the Switch like they're claiming to do, it'll possibly be on that platform as well. So what do you think? What do you think this game can potentially be? Because they're going to take the advancements in 3D CGI and mix live action, like as if you're watching a TV show or a movie, and like mix it into one game to make it, all feel like a complete live action game.
I think it has the potential to be revolutionary in its own way. But I'm also kind of worried because this is something that is, at least for Nippon Ichi, as far as I know, very, very new.
Yeah, it sounds like it's their first time doing this.
Yeah, so, I'm kind of worried to think that, maybe it's not going to succeed and that people will see this as a failure of the platform and not a failure of Nippon Ichi's.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything until after I've seen more details on it. But, I'm simultaneously hopeful and doubtful. I'm hopeful that this works, but I also know that Nippon Ichi, this is something they've never really done before. Have they ever done a horror game?
I think they have, but, not outside of the realm of JRPG.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of... It's it's a genre that they haven't really tapped into, and I think maybe for some people this is oh, Nippon Ichi only makes, quirky JRPGs. What's in it for me? And then this could bring a lot of new fans to Nippon Ichi, which is a good thing.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I hope it works out, because, there aren't that many other studios that have tried this. To make it look like an actual, like you're playing a movie or a TV show. Because like any other horror games out there, you can, obviously tell it's a video game.
Yeah.
So if this works out, maybe other studios could start adapting it as well.
Yeah, that's what I hope.
Let me see what else we got here. All right, so that was Nippon Ichi stuff. So let's get into some of the betas, the experience we had with some of these these two betas.
Ironically, I'm actually playing the Monster Hunter beta right now.
Okay, so what do you think of it so far?
Well, I've only ever played Monster Hunter 2 and 3. I played Monster Hunter 1, 2, and 3 Ultimate. I am currently in the training mode, trying to refamiliarize myself with the weapons. But I think it plays really well. I think that having 2 analog sticks is probably the best thing for the series ever. And I'm interested to see the full release when it drops.
And that comes out March 26th, January 26th, next Friday.
Same day as Fighters.
So 7 days, folks.
Man, I don't want to wait another week for that shit. I need my fix.
So, in the betas, what did you think of Final Fantasy Dissidia NT?
Okay, well, here's where I get all nitpicky and bitchy. So, this is basically just Gundam Versus, but with Final Fantasy characters. I heavily dislike it.
Okay.
I'm interested to see where it goes beyond the beta, but thus far I don't care for it. And the reason for that is, simply put, they took out a lot of the small touches that the old Dissidia games had. Like, I really liked the way characters leveled up in the old Dissidia, for example. And I don't necessarily know if they're going to do that for this one. It feels like they have a heavy emphasis on online play. And in not letting characters level up, there need to be different ways to make those characters more diverse than simply... Like, you've never played the PSP Dissidia.
No, right? I haven't. No.
Okay, well, basically what happens in those is, as you level up, you can customize your 3 bravery attacks for both on the ground and in the air. So you have 6 total. And then I believe you have so many HP attacks for both air and ground, and you can have multiple of those too. But I haven't played Dissidia in years, so I may be misremembering. But what you have is like a cost gauge that basically shows you, like, you can't have all of your character's most powerful moves until you're an extremely high level, basically.
I see.
So you have to unlock them, and then you also have to customize it such that you're within certain parameters.
So, see, for me, I downloaded the beta and I tried it, after the Fighters beta actually went offline.
Yeah.
Because the Dissidia one was still going on. And I think this, for me, just stems down to not ever playing Dissidia game before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going into this completely blind, don't know what I'm doing, don't know anything about the series. And I'm not, like, the biggest Final Fantasy fan in general. I've only played, a couple of the games in the series.
Yeah.
And I just got bored with it in, like, 10 minutes. I'm like, I just didn't find it fun.
See, I found that for a game as simple as it is, I really enjoyed the fighting mechanics, but I can definitely see how that's going to get old if they don't include stuff from the old ones, like level ups.
Right.
Wherein you can customize your characters. Like, I didn't play any of the story that we got in the beta, because I was too busy playing online and playing Gauntlet mode. Like, it's still going on, but I've since deleted it.
I couldn't even get a match. I tried going online in Gauntlet mode, and I couldn't even get anyone to connect with me.
I had one match, and it was really laggy.
It was
really bad.
Oh. Speaking of really bad, we're going to get into that.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't even play the DB Fighters one as the result of that netcode.
Did you try playing it on Monday? Because they did fix it, and it was working fine on Monday.
By that point, I had already deleted the things.
Okay.
I didn't know that they were going to... Like, I was busy on Monday, so I wasn't able to. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, they extended the beta, and I was like, well, shit. I've already deleted it. Like, it's a waste of time to download it for a couple of matches.
Right. See, so the digital pre-order folks, they got access to it as of 3 a.m. on last Saturday.
Yeah.
And I heard it ran fine for a little while, and then it just became a broken mess after that. And then everybody got access to it the following day at 3 a.m. for Sunday. And the beta was to run until 3 a.m. on Tuesday, which was the 16th. And because it was such a broken mess for like half the time, and it literally was unplayable, they fixed everything. It was working perfectly fine on Monday. Throughout the entire day on Monday, I streamed it Monday night for about almost 3.5 hours until the beta ended after wrestling was over. And what I got to play, I thoroughly enjoyed, to be honest.
Yeah.
Going into an Arc System Works game, for the first time. My online record wasn't very good, but at least I was competent enough to be able to win a good handful of matches.
Uh-huh.
I got to play 75 matches.
Jesus.
I played 75 matches, and I walked away 34-41. Win-loss record.
Well, that's pretty good.
One thing I could honestly say, and this is for like all 2D fighting games, when you get, into the corner, when you're getting cornered by your opponent, and they're like just like bodying you hardcore, and the game has like no mechanic to combo break them or like stun them out of a combo. It feels like a little hard to like get yourself out of it. And I'm not sure if Fighter Z has a combo breaker or a parry system to stop combos. If there is, I couldn't figure it out. And there was a lot of times where I got cornered and I just got my ass destroyed. Which is something like I said, I don't like in any 2D fighting game.
Yeah. Touch of death is really common in fighting games, and it's kind of like BlazBlue has like the burst break, and so does Guilty Gear. They both have like things that, although you sacrifice a part of your gauge, you can break basically any combo.
Right. Mortal Kombat has that too, which is good.
Yeah. And I haven't played Fighters because of that stuff, so like I don't know if that's the case with it.
Yeah, I didn't notice it. Like literally, when I'm just getting destroyed in the corner, I'm literally just mashing buttons trying to figure out how to break combos, and I just couldn't do it. And I mean, the fighting is great. I mean, for the most part, the beta ran really smooth. There was like next to no lag, and I feel like really the only lag there really was from the servers crapping out on you. Or from people using lag switches.
Yeah, that's another problem.
Because there was a few instances where I was actually winning a match, and like I would knock out my opponent's like first character, and I would have an advantage because I'd still have all three of my characters, and the game would be running smooth the whole time, and then after I'm clearly in the lead, then the game just starts lagging out of nowhere for the rest of the game.
Interesting.
And the fighting mechanics are great. The online, I like how to get into the game, like everything is within an online lobby. Like the training mode, the story mode, the online, the ranking system, everything is within a lobby. And you're going to be able to see up to 63 other players with you in a lobby. All different little avatars. You can walk around as I guess any of the playable characters as an avatar. And they didn't have they didn't have the two dramatic scenes like they advertised.
Are you sure you just couldn't use them? Like, are you sure you just didn't unlock them or whatever it is?
No, they didn't have them. They didn't even have the verse CPU option either.
Yeah, I noticed that one. That like when I tried to get in, it's like you need to be connected and you need to have this and this, and it's like no.
Well, the only versus CPU option you had in the game was through the battle training. Like there were some scenarios that you had to do to like learn, how to play the characters.
Okay, yeah, they do that really well. Like I said, ArcSys has some of the best fighting game tutorials ever.
Now, one of my favorite parts about the game, and I'm glad they kept this, was the whole clashing ultimate key blasts.
Yeah, that's always really cool.
Like for instance, at one point I clashed a Family Kamehameha ultimate attack with Gohan against a Final Flash from Vegeta. That was fun. Yeah. That was really fun.
Yeah, I really think that's one of the main things. Like, if you're going to make a Dragon Ball game, that has to be in there.
And I seen a video someone posted on Twitter last night that they compared some of the in-game footage from the story mode of the game to the actual footage from the anime.
And they're pretty close, eh?
Yeah, it is really close. Like, it's really well done. Very well done. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. From what I got to play, they did extend the beta, and the beta ran until midnight, which became today. It ran from midnight yesterday to midnight today, so it is over now, and the game will release in 7 days, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I can't wait to try it. So speaking of ArcSys, here's a piece of news that I actually haven't that I didn't share with you beforehand, but it just kind of reminded me.
All right.
So they're making this game called Cross Tag Battle.
Blaze Blue, right? Cross Tag Battle?
It's Blaze Blue, Persona 4, Under Night and Birth, and Ruby.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the game's going to launch with 20 characters. However, they've also planned... They recently announced that they have 20 characters planned for DLC as well. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
So basically, they're giving you 20 characters, and they want to have a 20-character DLC roster?
Yes, they basically want to double the roster through DLC.
Depending on how much that costs, that could be a real pain in the ass.
That's fair. I know a lot of people really don't like that, and I think that it's a case of, like, how many of these characters are free DLC?
Probably none of them, to be honest.
Probably none of them, but it's possible that some of them might be. You never know, right?
Right.
Because I also think that in a world where Street Fighter V is a thing, having a 20-character roster and then doubling that roster on launch is really good. Given that Street Fighter V I don't believe it launched with that many characters to begin with.
Street Fighter V had 16, and they since added 12, and Sakura's out now, so technically 13.
Okay.
With 5 more on the way, so it's going to be... The roster will end at 34
okay.
For now.
Like
as of the summer.
Core season or whatever, right?
Yeah, as of by the summer, the roster will end at 34 characters.
Okay, well, my opinion on this is that I'm going to wait and see how much these characters cost. I know that for Blaze Blue, each character was, if you wanted to buy additional characters, they were about $11, even though there was only one.
For one character, $11
Yeah, but you also get their arcade ladder and all this other shit, like their challenge mode.
I mean, that should come with the character anyway. If you're gonna put that character in the game should already be built to have that. Then again, you're talking Canadian.
All the stuff that you would expect, but. I don't know. I'm okay. I'm not really okay with paying that much for a character. I mean, I can definitely see if they were to bundle them together, because it's such a... if they were to start bundling characters together, if their season pass is a decent price, I could definitely see myself buying this game.
Kind of like the way Street Fighter's doing it, only hopefully a little cheaper.
Only cheaper, yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna wait and see. I don't even really plan to buy it because I'm not interested in Under Night and Birth or Ruby, and I don't really see how they could pull that off with the Persona 4 and Blaze Blue stuff.
Now, when you said $11, that's referring to Canadian money, so that's probably
that's Canadian dollars.
So
yeah,
that's probably
what the equivalent is.
That's probably $7 maybe US.
Yeah.
Now, I know, like, the standard is, like, $5-6 per character. Like, Street Fighter 5, if you don't want to grind out fight money to get the characters, it's, like, $6.
Okay.
Tekken, I don't know how much Geese Howard costs on PSN because I
I
bought
have the
this.
season pass. So.
Yeah, I have the season pass too, so it doesn't show me the price. And I know in Tekken Revolution, though, to unlock the characters in that game from the PS3, which was the free to play Tekken game, which was actually really good for an F2P.
Mm-hmm.
The unlock for those characters in that game was $6, and in Mortal Kombat X, or XL as it's called now, if you didn't have the season pass for that, or you didn't buy the combat packs and you just bought like the individual characters, they were $5 per character.
Huh.
Now, I think it would be really cool if BlazBlue, they put like some kind of way to farm like some type of in-game currency, like Street Fighter's doing. This way, it gives you the option to not spend actual money, but it'll take you longer to get those characters. If they're adding 20 of them and they want to double the roster, personally, I think they should give maybe a 25 or like a 25-person roster. Give like a little bit of a bigger roster at launch, and then save a handful for DLC.
Like my question is, like, how many of these characters would have been ready if they didn't announce them as DLC?
Right, and how many of them would be actually in the game already and just locked behind a paywall?
Yeah.
And, that's just something that really annoys me. That, some people, companies will do that. We're like, hey, DLC. And then data miners will go in and find out that it was already on the disc. And they just really locked it. Me. Like, I know NetherRealm does that because that's how they found out that, from the first Injustice game that Scorpion was in it. Because it was already, the data for his character was already in the game on the disc.
Okay.
And I believe they found out about Sub-Zero the same way from Injustice. It's like, you know what? If you're going to put the character's data in the game, just make him a playable character. Or an unlockable character in the game, at least. Why put him in the game that you have to buy and then make the person spend more money to play as those characters?
Yeah, it's total BS.
I mean, again, I understand why they do it because it's a way to rape people out of their wallets, and they're going to make more money from it. But the practice is sketchy, and a lot of people hate it. But geez, how long have we gone so far? Wow, we're just pushing an hour.
Yeah, and we still have 2 pieces of news.
Yeah, let's end with the 2 Final Fantasy releases.
Okay.
And then we'll save the rest for part 2.
So I get to bitch and moan. Okay.
Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition announced with a new dungeon and a bunch of extras. Release date March 6th. Following the ESRB rating for Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, Square Enix made it official by announcing the new pack for PS4 and Xbox One in March. And it comes with a brand new dungeon. Now, this is the stuff that the game comes with, and I already had previously read this article, so I'm going to be like a sarcastic bastard for some of this.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition includes an all-new dungeon called Insomnia City Ruins Expanded. New features such as a first-person mode, new gear, and new bosses. Armiger Unleashed. After you collect all 13 royal arms, more action extended mode for Armiger is unlocked. You get a royal vessel. The boat from Final Fantasy 15 will be a controllable vehicle. It says the same body of water between Cape Cayam and Alticia can now be freely explored. All Season Pass content, which includes episode Gladiolus, episode Episode Prompto, the multiplayer expansion, and episode Ignis. It comes with over a dozen pieces of DLC, including weapons, regalia car skins, and item sets. And it comes with a copy of the game. Well, I sure
Really, I
fucking
never
hope so.
guessed. Holy shit. So here's the part where I complain. The part that everybody has probably been waiting for. Because this was, I believe, my most disappointing game of last year. Now, this speaks volumes to me. Because it's... Why the fuck wouldn't you have this be the version that you release? Like, I don't mean, like, in terms of time frame. I mean, like, they had to patch stuff back into Final Fantasy 15 after release. Like, some cutscenes and stuff apparently didn't make it in. It's like, some of this stuff could have been in... Like, they could have patched the stuff in for free.
Right.
Like, the boat could have been patched in for free.
Exactly.
I can definitely see the DLC stuff, like the season pass content and the extra weapons and stuff, whatever. I really couldn't give a shit. However, keep in mind that this is the current season pass DLC, not whatever comes out next, because they have announced more DLC for it.
Exactly.
Which is something I don't think many people either realize or care about from the people I've talked about this with. I also find it very interesting that the game is the last thing that they announce.
Yeah, it's like, well, gee, if you're buying the game, if you're buying a Royal Edition of a game, I sure hope you're getting the fucking game for $60.
Well, I think that this is just their Game of the Year version of this, basically.
Right. And I actually have another piece on this after you're done.
Yeah. And I'm going to complain about that one, too. Don't get me wrong. I've read the article. I'm going to bitch and moan. But, like, I don't know, man. I played 15. My biggest hope is that when they release this edition, I have no intention of playing it. But when I watch people play it, I certainly hope that they manage to patch in and fix a lot of the problems that game has with pacing and character and shit like that. They're not going to, but I can hope.
Oh, I'm sure they're not.
No. Keep in mind that I made the crack about how the car gets more character development and has more of an emotional weight to it than any of the characters do, and that is not a false statement. That is 100% true.
Dude,
I gave more fucks about their car than I did about any of the four dudes.
The DLC includes car skins, for fuck's sakes, as DLC.
Oh, I'm so excited to customize this virtual car when instead I could go into the real world and buy a $10,000 car and customize it. Or, play Gran Turismo or Forza.
So, yeah, well, I'd say Forza right now has a lot more customization than Gran Turismo does. But, get this. This is the real kicker. Square Enix has announced that the current version of Final Fantasy 15 will be able to upgrade to the Royal Edition for $20.
I think that's a fair price. I'm kind of pissed off, but I think that's a fair price.
Now, the reason I don't like this is because this is kind of like what Street Fighter's doing in a way. How they're releasing another version of the game. Capcom is letting you upgrade for free. If you already own the game, you can get the arcade edition update for Street Fighter for free. With this, if you own the original game and you want to upgrade, you got to pay $20.
Well, to be fair, the way that I see it is like, I don't know how much the season pass is. I can go on my PS4 and look right now, in preparation for bitching about the next article. But basically the way I see it is like, the extra dungeon should have been in the game.
Right.
And the boat stuff, I don't really give a fuck, but I feel like it should have been in the game.
Using the boat should have already been in the game.
Yeah. Listen, we got drunk last night and talked about this, and I was like, man, I can't wait to play Final Fantasy 15 and be in the boat. Which, fun fact, I'm actually licensed to operate a boat in real life.
Interesting.
Yeah, technically it says pleasure craft, so, I have been pretty lewd with it a few times.
All right.
But regardless, the only reason I can see that being a fair price to pay for it, compared, like, I don't know how much the full thing's going to drop for, but basically the way I see it is, like, if you're paying for a season pass and then some.
So while you look up the thing for that,
Yeah, let's talk about the other one. Yeah.
the Windows edition is also announced for a March 6th release. And I have the information on the specs for what your computer is going to need to be able to run it, and it's very beefy, to be honest. So it says here, in addition to the Royal Edition that was announced, Square Enix shared a release date for the game's PC version, Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition. So here are the specs. The minimum specs you need, anything from Windows 7 to 10, 64-bit. Intel Core i5 2500, 3.3 gigahertz and above. Or an AMD FX 6100, 3.3 gigahertz or above. Graphics card NVIDIA GeForce GTX 760 or a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 or a AMD Radeon R9 280. 8 gigs of minimum RAM, at least the 720p screen resolution, and the download is over 100 gigabytes.
Jesus.
The recommended specs is the same. Windows 10, Windows 7 to 10, 64-bit. Recommended Intel Core i7, 3770, 3.4 gigahertz and above, or an AMD FX 8350, 4 gigahertz and above. Graphics card NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060 with 6 gigabytes of virtual RAM, or the Radeon RX 480. 16 gigabytes of RAM memory, and a 1080p screen resolution, and again it is over 100 gigs. Now, here are the 4K HDR specs, if anybody cares. You need to have Windows 10, nothing else, 64-bit, the full Creators Update, an Intel Core i7 7700 at 3.6 gigahertz or above, or an AMD Ryzen 5 1600X at 3.6 gigahertz and above. The graphics card, you need a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 Ti, which I don't think you can get any better than that. You need at least 16 gigabytes of memory, of RAM. You need a 4K resolution screen, which is 2160p. And the download for this is over 155 gigs.
I see. I just looked at the season pass on the PlayStation Store. It's $34 Canadian.
So that's probably about what, 25, 30 US?
Yeah, and it comes with 2 item packs, and then all of the character episodes, and the multiplayer expansion. Which that multiplayer expansion is fucking expensive. That alone is like $27.
So then you think the $20 upgrade is worth it then?
I do. I'm still not gonna fucking buy it. I do. I also need to. I have a gripe with this that I want to talk about. First person view. Why?
I was just gonna say
just philosophically, like it's like, what is the meaning of life? It's like, why have first person mode? Like, Grand Theft Auto did it, and it's like, I can kind of understand that. It's like, it's a shooter.
Right.
It's like, why would anybody give a shit? Other than maybe for the car. Like, the car is one of the better parts of Final Fantasy 15. If I could get first person, like, fucking driver's seat mode in that. That's pretty cool. But for literally everything else, it's like, what am I going to use that for?
Right.
If anything, I can see that as being, because of the gameplay, very disorienting and distracting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not even in terms of, like, because I'm sure when you get into a battle, they're going to kick you back into third-person mode. It's just, like, how is that going to affect exploration? Because I feel like it's going to interfere.
So you said you had something to add to the Windows edition?
Oh, no, that was the first-person mode.
Oh, okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh,
okay. It's like, why? Also, I think that I'm curious because it says that it includes all Season Pass content, which is fair. But that also, and like the free updates that they've patched in. But I'm more curious to see, like, what's it going to look like? How much more expansive is it going to be? Is it going to be worth the money and the wait? And I would argue the answer to that is no, but that's because I don't like Final Fantasy 15.
Right. I'm sure somebody out there is going to love it.
Oh, I'm sure they will, and all the power to them. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, I personally think Final Fantasy 15 is not worth the money. But if somebody else enjoys it, I'm not going to shit on them for it.
Now, what do you think about the PC version? It doesn't state that it's the Royal Edition, so do you think PC players are getting kind of screwed over?
Yeah, I do actually. I think that unless it ends up being that you can get all of that material, like the material from the Royal Edition, like the extra dungeon and the boat, or as we call it when we were drunk yesterday, the Boat.
The Boat.
The Boat. Unless that is patched in for free, I think it's a waste of your money compared to a console version.
Right.
And I think that the PC players are getting screwed over because there's less content as a result.
Okay. I see your point there, yeah. Less
like
content.
it's going to be better optimized for Windows.
Oh yeah, especially if you want to play it in the highest settings possible.
Oh yeah, no, like the optimization's good if it drops and runs well for most people, but everything else about it just reeks of being scummy to me. Especially because I can almost guarantee you that what's going to happen is at a later date, they're going to put out all the Royal Edition stuff as either another separate version of this, if they can get away with it, or alternatively as DLC.
Oh, I'm sure will happen. So, let's wrap this up with our last bit, and this is kind of our main event for today.
Ooh, the Nintendo Labo?
The Nintendo Labo stuff. Nintendo had announced earlier this week that they had something new that they were going to talk about. And I don't know why they didn't just make this part of the Nintendo Direct, because it was only like a 3.5 minute long video.
Yeah.
They could have squeezed it into the Direct last week, but I could understand why they didn't. For those who don't know what Nintendo Labo is, it's you could buy two sets. You could buy a Variety Kit for $60, or you could buy the Robot Kit for $80. Did I say 60? I meant 70. I'm sorry. Variety Kit for $70, Robot Kit for $80. And it's basically a set that comes with a bunch of cardboard, markers, rubber bands, string, and sticker sets to customize your cardboard. And you can do like a bunch of different things with the Joy-Cons, like it showed, one of them showed like you can make a cardboard piano and you could put the Switch in it. Another thing showed you can customize your Joy-Con grip. Something else showed making like a gun type thing using the Joy-Con's camera on the right Joy-Con. And there were a few other options as well. Mm-hmm. And the Robot Kit is this giant looking backpack thing, and you can control, use the Joy-Cons like joysticks on the front of it like you're controlling a robot moving. And they show gameplay of this robot game. We don't know what it's called right now. They also showed gameplay of the other stuff. So like I'm sure you can like make a racing wheel with the variety pack for Mario Kart, because I'm pretty sure they showed a wheel in this. I think it's interesting, but what kind of quality do you think you'll get out of this material?
Uh, I don't know, honestly. I think that my opinion of this is Nintendo has done a lot more with a lot less. I think that, I made model kits and did stuff with my dad when I was a kid. This is something that would have been right up my alley if I was, 10 years old. And I believe I was told, now I don't have the source for this, that you can still get and still play, you can still get the stuff without the cartridge, without the cardboard stuff.
Right.
Which then begs the question of, A, how long before people start making their own? And B, will you still be able to get the full functionality from it without the Labo, or without the add-ons?
Right. Now,
I personally think that it would be more fun to have it, but I'm not going to pay for one for a while.
Oh, I'm not going to buy this either. I mean, it looks interesting, just to mess around with it first. But, I mean, all it is cardboard, rubber bands, and string. It's not very hard to ruin that kind of material.
No.
I mean, in a way, like, rubber bands and string is replaceable. But if you don't have cardboard laying around your house and you screw up your cardboard, you're kind of SOL.
Yeah, I also think that, honestly, it's not worth the amount of money.
I don't think it is either.
Given that, here's the thing. That Switch games, on average, are cheaper than PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games.
Right.
This is, at least in Canadian, about $10 more than the average PS4 game for the variety pack. Which to me is I get it, right? There's probably a lot of functionality. It's probably pretty fun because it's Nintendo. I mean, I'm not going to deny that it looks fun, but I just don't think it's worth it for what it is. I think that it has the potential to be a very good thing, but it also has the potential to be a stupid gimmicky thing too. Especially if they make this the Switch's main gimmick.
I hope they don't going forward. I mean,
I think they were doing really well with just the whole it's portable.
Yeah.
Thing. And they finally managed, as much as I hate motion controls, to kind of refine it with Mario Odyssey.
Right. And I'm going to break down, essentially here, what you get in these sets. So the $70 one, the variety pack, you can mess around and experiment with 5 different Toy-Con projects. You get 2 RC cars, a fishing rod, a piano, 1 motorbike, and a house. Nintendo Labo Variety Kit software. So I'm guessing there's going to be a game, some kind of game that comes with this.
Yeah, I was told that there's a cartridge that comes with it.
Cardboard.
So that's true.
You get 28 sheets of cardboard. And it also says it includes an extra sheet for customization. 3 sheets of reflective stickers. 3 sponge sheets. 1 orange string. 1 blue string. 1 gray grommet set. 1 blue grommet set. 2 large rubber band plus 2 spares, and you get 1 small rubber band plus 6 spares. So I like the fact that they're giving you a little bit extra in case you ruin your stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't get extra grommets, you don't get extra string, but they'll give you extra rubber bands and a little bit of extra cardboard. I think if they're going to give extra, they should give extra of everything. And from what I'm seeing here, the orange string is a lot bigger than the blue one. I'm also seeing the grommet set, the blue one. There are 8 blue grommets and 2 gray grommets. And then there's pictures of what the cardboard and stuff will look like. It'll be available in the U.S. at GameStop, Best Buy, Amazon, and Walmart, releasing on April 20th. Every pothead's favorite holiday.
Oh boy. It's also Hitler's birthday.
For $70. Now, let me go back in and go over the Robo set. The Robo set says, make, play, and discover with a cool robot suit. And this one, it shows like this person's wearing some kind of VR headset looking thing on it. Okay. This one comes with a giant backpack looking thing, and it like has this kid or this guy, whatever, wearing like this VR looking headset thing on his face. It comes with 2 screws. They look like cardboard screws. And it does come with the software, the RoboKit software. And this one you get 19 pieces of cardboard, 4 card stock sheets, one sheet of reflective stickers, two orange and 2 blue strings, 1 gray canvas strap, large, one medium gray canvas strap, and 2 small gray canvas strap. You get 10 gray grommet sets and 2 orange grommet sets for this one. And this one's $80, but you only get to make one thing out of it.
Yeah. I personally was going to make a joke about how, is this how they're going to announce Gundam Versus for the Switch? But I also recognize there's probably a lot of people out there who are going to buy this and then customize it so that it looks like a Gundam.
Well, in the game that they showed, like the literally 5 seconds of footage they showed, it showed at one point like a robot turning into a car, almost like a transformer.
Oh, that's cool.
So I wonder if there's going to be like some kind of possible Transformers game made for this, or at the very least like a Transformers ripoff.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that it's like kind of a little underwhelming. Like, I'm not going to get one until at least I see that, like, basically what I want for this to be is I want it to be like a neat little thing that people do as a hobby. And then each of the cartridges that comes with it are playable within the Labo set.
And I'm thinking that possibly, you'll be able to make stuff to use for other games as well, like a racing wheel for Mario Kart. I'm guessing there's going to be some kind of fishing game maybe coming out, which is why you're going to be able to make a fishing rod.
Final Fantasy 15 announced for Switch.
Maybe they're going to do something like a music-based game that, obviously is what the piano's going to be for.
Yes, Piano Hero now on Switch.
The RC cars baffles me. The motorbike, maybe there's going to be, like I said, maybe you could use that, and that could work for Mario Kart. Because technically there are motorbikes in Mario Kart.
Yeah. Also, like, imagine if they made Excite Bike, but they made like a Switch version of that.
I could see that happening. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be really neat. I'd be kind of excited for that, to be honest.
And this product is recommended for kids ages 6 to 12. So honestly, anybody that's not a kid, I can't see an adult owning this.
No.
Although because of the day it's releasing, I could see some dumb shits ordering this, and when they do get it, making some really stupid shit out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested to see what people are going to start making out of this.
Let's make a box for it.
Yeah, right?
Like, fuck, I don't know, man. Like, I think that it's an interesting product. I can't wait to see where it goes, but I'm not gonna get one.
Yeah, I'm not going to get one either. Like,
I keep vehemently saying that because I know that in my heart of hearts, there's probably gonna come a time where there's a price drop and I'll buy one.
honestly, if my nephew had a Switch, I'd probably buy one, just to share with him. But he doesn't, and he probably, I don't know if he'll ever decide to want one, so...
Yeah.
As of right now, it's off the table for me.
Mm.
But before we wrap up part 1 of episode 3, let's go over a little bit of what we have in store for part 2.
Okay.
A teaser, as
oh,
you
yeah,
will.
for part 2 of episode 3, I'm sorry.
Right. Part 2 of episode 3. Freedom Planet being teased for a Nintendo Switch port, which Freedom Planet is on the PC and Wii U currently. There will be a legendary Pokemon celebration in February 2018. PlayStation 4 has an upcoming system software beta. Sign-ups are now available. Persona 5, the animation, getting new key visuals and more additions to that. Another piece of news from Nippon Ichi, teasing a new game of a certain product of a certain series.
Oh boy.
As well as an unknown remake that we don't know about. So they're remaking something else that's not Disgaea, apparently.
Fuck, I hope it's Makai Kingdom.
And then a piece of news about the SNK Heroines game. There will be no censorship for the Western release.
Oh boy.
And we'll get into that.
See all those glorious pixelated titties.
So we'll get into that in episode 3, part number 2, I'm sorry. Definitely won't be as long as this one. We are literally touching an hour and a half here. So look forward to that on Sunday. Or possibly Monday. Hopefully Sunday. So until part 2 of episode 3, thanks for watching. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Follow Black Sakura. Follow Erin Fitzgerald. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're enjoying the podcast for more podcasts every weekend. Or just about every weekend. And follow me on Twitch too. I'm aiming for affiliate status and I'm almost there. So thanks for watching, folks. Until next time, my name is Arose, and for Cypher, we'll catch your ass down the road.